The gavel slammed down like a thunderclap in the marbled halls of the Harrington family estate. But it was William Harrington's voice that shattered the air first. "You're no son of mine, not anymore. Get out, Samuel. You've poisoned this legacy with your deviance." Samuel stood frozen at the head of the grand oak table, the boardroom's crystal chandelier casting fractured light across his face, his heart pounding as the words hung like smoke from a fresh gunshot. In that instant, the empire his father had built brick by blood, Harrington Enterprises, the steel-hearted giant of Manhattan's skyline, crumbled not from market crashes or rival bids, but from the raw, unfiltered betrayal of a father's love turned to venom. Samuel Harrington had always known the weight of expectation. Born into the shadow of towering skyscrapers, his father had clawed from the concrete jungle. He grew up in a penthouse that overlooked Central Park like a king surveying his domain. William was a titan, broad-shouldered, silver-haired, with a voice that commanded boardrooms and bent politicians to his will. He'd built Harrington Enterprises from a single construction firm into a conglomerate that spanned real estate, tech ventures, and even a slice of Wall Street finance. "Blood before everything," William would say, clapping Samuel on the back after a little league win or a straight-A report card. "That's what makes us Harringtons unbreakable." But unbreakable things crack under pressure, and Samuel's truth had been the fault line all along. At 22, fresh out of Yale with a degree in urban planning and a fire in his belly to modernize the family business, he'd come home for Christmas break with a secret gnawing at his chest. It wasn't the internships or the late-night study sessions that kept him awake. It was the way his roommate, Jake, had looked at him during their final exam cram session, the brush of a hand, the lingering gaze that said more than words ever could. Jake had been the first to call it what it was: love. Or at least, the spark of it. Samuel had planned to tell his father privately, over brandy in the study, framing it as just another evolution in the Harrington legacy. But secrets in a house like that travel faster than whispers in the wind. His mother, Evelyn, elegant, distant, more decorator than parent, had overheard a phone call. She'd told William, of course, because in their world, discomfort was a currency to be traded, not buried. The family dinner that night was a farce of crystal and silver. Roast pheasant, vintage Cabernet, the works. Samuel sat across from his younger sister, Lila, who fiddled with her fork, sensing the storm. William carved the bird with surgical precision, his knife flashing under the candlelight. "So, son," he said, not looking up, "Yale treating you right? Any distractions?" Samuel swallowed hard, the pheasant turning to ash in his mouth. "It's good, Dad. Challenging. But I'm learning a lot about sustainable development." "Distractions?" William cut in, his eyes lifting like a predator spotting weakness. "Like that boy you mentioned. Jake, was it?" Sounded cozy on the phone. The room went still. Evelyn's wineglass paused mid-air. Lila's eyes widened. Samuel felt the heat rise in his neck, a flush of shame and defiance. "Dad, it's not." "Not what?" William's fork clattered against the plate. "Not what the whole goddamn city will whisper if this gets out. Harringtons don't air their laundry like this, Samuel. We build. We conquer. We don't parade our failures." "It's not a failure," Samuel whispered, his voice cracking like thin ice. "It's who I am." William stood so fast his chair toppled. "Who you are. You're a Harrington, and Harringtons are men, real men, who carry the name without apology. He stormed from the table, but not before hurling the final blow over his shoulder. Pack your things. You're done here. That was the spark. By morning, William had escalated it to biblical proportions. He called an emergency board meeting, ostensibly about a merger with a rival firm, but really to draw first blood. Samuel arrived at the estate's conference wing expecting reconciliation, maybe a stern lecture. Instead, he walked into a coliseum. The board members, old money relics in tailored suits, sat stone-faced around the table. William paced at the head, a lion in his den. "Gentlemen," he boomed as Samuel entered, "we have a cancer in our midst. My own son, ladies and, well, whatever he fancies himself these days, has decided to embrace perversion over progress. This isn't just personal. It's a threat to our brand. Investors whisper, partners hesitate. We cut it out now, or we bleed." Samuel's knees buckled. "Dad, sit down," William snarled, pointing to a chair like it was a gallows. "Or better yet, stand there and hear it. You've shamed us all." The words landed like punches. Board members shifted uncomfortably, some nodding in grim agreement, others averting eyes. One, old Mr. Hargrove, cleared his throat. "William, perhaps this is a family matter." "Family?" William laughed, bitter and sharp. "Family doesn't destroy what we've built. Samuel, you're stripped of your shares, your title, your access. Effective immediately. Get out." Samuel didn't cry, not then. He straightened, met his father's gaze with eyes like shattered glass. "You think this ends me? It just begins something new." He turned on his heel, the door slamming behind him like a full stop on his old life. The city swallowed him whole that winter. New York, with its relentless pulse, didn't care about fallen heirs. Samuel crashed on Jake's couch in a cramped Brooklyn walk-up, the kind of place where the radiator clanged like a bad omen and the walls thrummed with subway rumbles. Jake was there, solid, kind-eyed, with a mop of curly brown hair and a laugh that could thaw January frost. "Hey, man," he'd said that first night, handing Samuel a beer. "Screw the old man. You're better than his empire anyway." They'd kissed for the first time 3 weeks later, tentative and electric, under the fairy lights of a dive bar's back patio. It was Samuel's first real taste of freedom. Jake's hands warm on his waist, the world narrowing to the scent of pine needles from a corner Christmas tree and the promise of something untainted. But Jake was a barista dreaming of graphic design gigs, not a savior. Their nights blurred into mornings of job hunts and ramen dinners, love blooming in the cracks like weeds through pavement. By spring, Samuel had clawed his way into an entry-level gig at a nonprofit called Urban Renewal Initiative, URI for short. It was the anti-Harrington, focused on affordable housing in the forgotten corners of the Bronx and Queens, fighting gentrification with community grants and green spaces. His boss, Maria Delgado, a no-nonsense Latina with a law degree and a tattoo of Frida Kahlo on her forearm, saw the fire in him. "Kid, you've got the blueprint of a bulldozer in your veins," she'd said, tossing him his first project file. "But use it to build, not destroy." Samuel dove in. Late nights poring over zoning laws, weekends rallying tenants against eviction notices. It was gritty, unglamorous work, but it felt like breathing for the first time. Jake was his anchor, cheering from the sidelines, sketching logos for URI's campaigns on napkins. "You're changing the game," Sam. He'd murmur into Samuel's neck after a long day, their bodies tangled in sheets that smelled of takeout and hope. Word of Samuel's exploits trickled back to the Harrington Empire. Of course. Lila, his sister, snuck him updates via encrypted texts. Dad's raging about some bleeding heart sabotage in the tabloids. He thinks you're gunning for him. Samuel wasn't, not yet. But when Harrington Enterprises announced a massive luxury condo development in the South Bronx, plowing over a historic Latino neighborhood URI had just saved from the auction block, the lines blurred. It started small, a petition drive, then a city council hearing where Samuel testified, voice steady as steel. "This isn't progress," he'd said, facing down Williams' lobbyists. "It's erasure. My father's company builds walls where we need bridges." The press ate it up. Eris's brother turns activist against family fortune. Williams' response was a blistering op-ed in the Post. Sentimental fools versus real jobs. The betrayal cut deeper when Evelyn called. "Your father's heart. Samuel, it's failing. Come home. This feud is killing him." Samuel went, driving up to the estate under a slate-gray sky. William lay in the master suite, hooked to monitors that beeped like accusations. He looked smaller, the Titan reduced to papery skin and labored breaths. "Dad," Samuel said, perching on the bed's edge. William's eyes fluttered open, sharp as ever. "Come to gloat or beg forgiveness?" "Neither. Just to talk." "Talk." William coughed, a wet rattle. "You think words fix this? You turned your back, paraded your shame like a badge." "It wasn't shame. It was truth." Samuel's voice broke. "And you? You built an empire on lies, evicting families for penthouses, bribing officials for permits." "I wanted to make it better, not burn it." William's hand twitched, as if reaching, then fell. "Better? You're weak. Boy. Love like that. It weakens." Samuel stood, chest tight. "Weakness is hiding who you are. I'll show you strength." He left without another word, the door clicking shut on a bridge half-burned. Back in Brooklyn, Jake sensed the fracture. "You're carrying too much," he said one night, tracing Samuel's knuckles as they lay awake. "Let me in all the way." Samuel pulled him close, their foreheads touching. "You are in. Deeper than anyone." It was love, raw and real, the kind that made the city's chaos feel like home. But empires don't fall quietly, and Samuel's war was just igniting. Months bled into a rhythm of protests and press releases, URI's office a hive of fluorescent buzz and coffee stains. Samuel thrived in the fray, his suits traded for hoodies and boots caked in construction site mud. Jake's designs graced their flyers, bold reds and blues screaming homes, not havens for the rich. Their relationship deepened in stolen moments, a hand squeeze during a rally chant, a slow dance in their tiny kitchen to Coltrane on vinyl. "You're my revolution," Jake whispered once, lips brushing Samuel's ear, and it stuck like gospel. But William's illness was no bluff. Lila confirmed it in a coffee shop meetup, her designer bag clashing with the Formica table. "He's got congestive heart failure, Sam. Doctors say stress isn't helping." She slid over a photo, William at a gala, gaunt but grinning for the cameras. "He misses you." In his way, Samuel's resolve wavered. That night, he dreamed of the estate, boyhood games of tag through manicured lawns, William hoisting him onto shoulders after a school play. Waking to Jake's steady breathing, he pushed it down. Can't go back, he muttered. Not like this. The turning point came in July, heat wave thick as regret. Harrington Enterprises pushed forward with the Bronx Project, breaking ground despite injunctions. URI filed an emergency suit, alleging environmental violations. Samuel led the charge, testifying before a packed courtroom in the Bronx County building. The judge, a stern woman with silver-streaked hair, leaned forward as Samuel spoke. Your Honor, this development isn't just bricks and mortar. It's a death knell for a community that survived redlining, riots, recessions. My father's company, Harrington Enterprises, promises jobs, but history shows they deliver displacement. We've got affidavits from 200 residents, soil tests showing contamination risks. This is greed masked as growth. Across the aisle, Williams' lead counsel, a slick Fox News regular, countered with charts of economic boon. But then, the bomb, a leaked email chain, courtesy of an anonymous URI whistleblower, detailing bribes to zoning officials. The gallery gasped. Samuel's eyes met the counsel's, then flicked to the back row. William himself, propped in a wheelchair, face ashen. The judge halted proceedings for review. Outside, reporters swarmed like locusts. Mr. Harrington Jr., is this personal revenge? One shouted. Samuel paused, Jake's hand grounding him in the crowd. It's justice. For everyone they've overlooked. That evening, the call came. William's number, voice frail over the line. Samuel. We need to meet. Alone. The estate loomed like a mausoleum under moonlight, its gates creaking open to swallow Samuel's beat-up Civic. He found William in the library, fire crackling low, a decanter of scotch half-empty on the side table. No nurses, no Lila, just the two of them, ghosts in a palace. You did this? William rasped, wheeling closer. The leaks. The suit. My own blood. Turning the knife. Samuel sank into an armchair, the leather sighing like an old friend. I didn't leak anything. But I won't stop fighting. Not for this. William's laugh was a wheeze. Fighting. For what? Those squatters? They'll tear it down anyway. Progress marches. Son. Always. Not if it's built on lies. Samuel leaned forward. Dad, remember the park you made me? In Central Park. That little league field? You said it was for kids like me, dreamers. Where'd that guy go? William's eyes glistened, but his jaw set. He got tired of dreamers bankrupting him. You want truth? I built this for you. All of it. But you threw it away for some boy. Jake, Samuel said softly. His name's Jake. And it's not throwing away. It's choosing life over legacy. The silence stretched, broken only by the fire's pop. William reached out, gnarled hand hovering. Stay. Help me fix it. The empire. It's cracking. Samuel stood, heart a war drum. Fix it by making it right. Pull the project. Fund real housing. Or I'll finish what you started by ending it. He left William staring into the flames. The doors echo a vow unspoken. Back in Brooklyn, Jake waited with takeout tie and a sketchpad open to a new URI logo, a phoenix rising from cracked concrete. They ate cross-legged on the floor, Jake's foot nudging Samuel's. Rough night, Samuel nodded, pulling him into a hug. He wants me back. As the prodigal, not the rebel. Jake's fingers threaded through his hair. And you, I want us. This. Their kiss was slow. A bomb, tongues tracing apologies neither voiced. In bed later, bodies aligned like puzzle pieces, Samuel whispered secrets into Jake's skin. Fears of losing the fight, of his father's shadow eclipsing his light. Jake listened, held him through the tremors. Their love a quiet rebellion against the world's roar. URI's suit gained traction, drawing allies, environmental groups, celeb endorsements, even a sympathetic councilman. Samuel became the face, interviews on NPR, profiles in The Atlantic. From heir to activist, they called him. William countered with PR spins, charity galas, a Harrington Gives Back fund that rang hollow. Then, the betrayal. Lila texted mid-September, "Watch the board minutes." Something's off. Samuel hacked in, old family codes still worked, uncovering a side deal. William, desperate to salvage the Bronx project, had greenlit a shell company to launder funds, bypassing regulators. Worse, the whistleblower, one of URI's own, a junior staffer named Theo, bought off by Harrington Cash. Rage boiled as Samuel confronted Theo in the office parking lot, rain slicking the asphalt. "How much? For your soul?" Theo, drenched and defiant, shrugged. "Enough to pay off my mom's medicals." "Your dad's empire pays better than ideals." Samuel's fist clenched, but he walked away, the sting sharper than any punch. That night, he unloaded on Jake over whiskey shots. Everyone's for sale. Even family. Jake cupped his face. Not everyone. Not me. Their lovemaking was fierce, reclaiming nails on backs, breaths mingling in gasps of, "I love you," like lifelines. Dawn found them entwined, Samuel vowing silently, no more half measures. The counterstrike launched at a citywide forum on urban equity. Samuel keynoting to a hall packed with activists and suits. Harrington Enterprises isn't just building condos, they're building corruption, he declared, projecting the emails on a massive screen. Gasps rippled. Cameras flashed. William watched from the wings, wheelchair-bound, Evelyn at his side. Post-speech, chaos, reporters, hugs from strangers. Jake pulled Samuel aside in a green room, eyes shining. "You were a force. Proud doesn't cover it." Samuel kissed him hard, the world fading. "Couldn't without you," but victory soured fast. William's camp leaked Samuel's Yale transcript, embellished with disciplinary notes for inappropriate conduct. Tabloids twisted it. Activist heirs' secret scandals. URI's donors wavered. Maria called Samuel in. "This mudslinging, it's hitting us." "Lay low." He wouldn't. Instead, he went public, owning it in a viral op-ed. "Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I fought my father. And yes, I'll keep fighting for truth, for homes, for love that doesn't bend to boardrooms." The response was a tidal wave. Support from LGBTQ+ orgs, celebs retweeting, donations surging. Jake's designs went viral too, emblazoned on protest tees. Their apartment became a war room, nights blurring into strategy sessions punctuated by tender pauses. Jake's head on Samuel's lap, fingers mapping constellations on his chest. Winter crept in, snow dusting the Brooklyn Bridge like forgotten confetti. William's condition worsened. Lila begged Samuel to visit. "He's asking for you." By name. Samuel went, steeling himself against the estate's ghosts. William was bedridden now, oxygen mask fogging his breaths. "You win," he croaked as Samuel entered. The boards folding. Projects scrapped. Samuel's throat tightened. "It's not about winning, Dad, isn't it?" William's eyes, milky but piercing, locked on. "You always were the smarter one. Forgive an old fool." The word hung, fragile as frost. Samuel took his hand, cold, trembling. "Maybe. If you fight for real this time." William nodded weakly. "Stay. Build with me." Samuel hesitated, Jake's face flashing in his mind. "Not yet. But I'll think." He left with a seed of hope, the first thaw in years. Back home, Jake greeted him with cocoa and a blanket fort. "Empire truce?" "Truce," Samuel echoed, pulling him close. Their laughter echoed soft, a melody against the storm. But empires die hard, and Williams had claws. Spring unfurled like a hesitant truce, cherry blossoms painting Central Park in defiant pinks against the gray spires of Midtown. Samuel straddled worlds. URI mornings drafting green initiatives, Harrington afternoons in sterile boardrooms, pitching sustainable retrofits to skeptical execs. William, rallied by new meds, barked orders from his home office. "But softer now. Not bad, son. Tweak the ROI projections." It was progress, brittle as new ice, but Samuel clung to it. Jake teased him over breakfast bagels. "Mister. 2 empires now. Don't forget the little people." Samuel's laugh was genuine, but the strain showed in shadowed eyes. Their intimacy, once a refuge, now laced with unspoken fears. "What if he pulls me back in fully?" Samuel confessed one night, rain lashing the window. "What if I lose us?" Jake traced his jaw. "You won't. We're the unbreakable part." Their embrace lingered, bodies speaking what words fumbled, slow rocks, shared sighs, a reaffirmation etched in skin. Lila became the bridge, hosting awkward family dinners at neutral ground, a Soho bistro with exposed brick and overpriced salads. Evelyn thawed slightly, complimenting Samuel's tie. William even asked about Jake once. Gruffly, "That designer fellow, decent work?" Samuel's heart flipped. "He's brilliant, Dad." The real fracture came in May, when William announced his legacy pivot. Harrington Enterprises would rebrand as a social impact leader, pouring millions into affordable housing. The press hailed it. From feud to fusion, Harringtons unite. Samuel's byline appeared in joint statements, his face beside Williams in glossy mags. URI benefited too, seed funding for a Queens pilot project. But whispers slithered through, board members grumbling about soft strategies, investors pulling strings for veto power. Samuel ignored them, focusing on the win. Jake, ever the artist, captured it in a mural for URI's lobby. Intertwined roots breaking concrete, labeled growth from grit. Then, the second betrayal sharper, from within. At a strategy summit in the estate's solarium, overlooking the Hudson's gleam, William pulled Samuel aside. "Son, this pivot. It's a facade. The board's demanding we fast-track a casino deal in Atlantic City. High stakes, quick returns. Your green stuff? Side project." Samuel's blood iced. "You promised." Promises bend. William cut in, eyes hard. Empires survive on compromises. Join me, or watch it all unravel. Rage surged, hot and familiar. This is why I left. You're still the same, building on backs. William's cane tapped the tile. And you're naive. Without me, your URI folds. Think on it. Samuel stormed out, tires screeching down the drive. He drove aimlessly, ending at Jake's gallery show in Williamsburg, raw canvases of urban decay reborn in neon. Jake spotted him across the crowd, weaving through hipsters with paint-flecked hands. Sam, you look like hell, in a back alley, under buzzing fluorescence. Samuel broke. The tears came fierce, soaking Jake's shirt. He's using me. Again. Jake held him, unyielding. Then walk. For real. Their kiss was salt-tinged, desperate, hands clutching like lifelines, bodies pressed to the brick until the world steadied. Samuel didn't walk, not yet. He channeled the fury into URI's next move, a shareholder revolt. Digging through public filings, he uncovered the casino plot's underbelly, ties to mobbed-up developers, environmental waivers bought with backroom deals. With Maria's blessing, he went rogue. Anonymous tips to the Times, data dumps to watchdog sites. Harrington's dirty gamble, the headlines screamed. William's retaliation was swift. A smear campaign painting Samuel as a disgruntled opportunist, exploiting family illness for fame. Lila called in tears. Dad's crashing again, stress. He thinks you want him dead. Guilt gnawed. Samuel visited the hospital. ICU beeps a dirge. William, tubed and pale, rasped through a notepad. Why? Because you taught me to fight dirty, Samuel whispered. But I'm fighting clean now. Evelyn hovered, accusatory. You're killing him, Samuel. For what? That lifestyle. Love, he shot back. Real love. Try it sometime. He fled to Brooklyn, where Jake waited with fortitude and forgiveness. Whatever comes, Jake said, drawing him to bed. We face it. Their night was a sanctuary, gentle explorations, whispers of futures untethered, love as armor against the fray. The climax brewed in June's swelter, a shareholder meeting at Harrington's Midtown HQ, a glass monolith piercing the clouds. Samuel crashed it uninvited, backed by URI allies and activist proxies holding sway. The boardroom hummed with tension, William at the head, wheelchair a throne of defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, Samuel began, voice echoing off steel walls. I've watched this company devour communities for profit. My father built it with iron will, but it's time to rebuild with heart. He unveiled slides, casino corruption charts, URI's viable alternatives, mixed-use hubs blending luxury with low-income units, green tech jobs. Murmurs swelled. A proxy rose, motioned to table the Atlantic City bid. William's gavel trembled. Over your legacy, Samuel interjected, stepping forward. Dad, you shamed me once. Don't let shame define us now. The vote teetered. Eyes turned to William, Titan, father, man. His hand shook as he lowered the gavel. Abstain. The room erupted. Approvals for Samuel's plan, ousters for the old guard. As proxies filed out, William wheeled to Samuel, eyes wet. You ended it. My way. You ended nothing, Samuel said, kneeling. We start new. William gripped his arm, frail but fierce. Forgive. Samuel nodded, tears blurring. Always did. Outside, rain broke the heat, washing the streets clean. Jake waited curbside, umbrella in hand. Empire Slayer, he grinned, pulling Samuel under cover. Co-builder, Samuel corrected, kissing him deep, their love, the true cornerstone. But redemption's path twists, and William's heart gave out that night. Peaceful, they said, in sleep. The funeral was a spectacle. Dignitaries, eulogies lauding the reformed visionary. Samuel spoke last. Voice steady, he taught me strength. I hope I taught him grace. In the receiving line, a young architect approached. Theo, the betrayer, eyes downcast. I was wrong, Sam. Used the money for good now, scholarships. Forgive. Samuel clasped his hand. Water under. Build better. Nights after. Grief wrapped Samuel like fog. But Jake was sunlight, cooking experimental curries, dragging him to rooftop stargazing. To new empires, Jake toasted one evening, clinking beers on their fire escape. To us, Samuel added, their fingers lacing eternal. Summer's end brought a hush to the city, the kind that follows thunder, air thick with possibility, sidewalks steaming under fleeting sun. Samuel inherited the empire not as conqueror, but steward, CEO of a rechristened Harrington Urban Ventures, fusing old steel with new soul. Board meetings shifted from cutthroat to collaborative. His first initiative, a Bronx revival, community co-ops where residents held equity stakes. No more evictions, he decreed, echoing ghosts of fights past. Lila stepped up as COO, her sharp eye tempering his idealism. Evelyn, surprisingly, volunteered for the arts wing, curating murals in lobbies. Jake thrived too, his design scaling, apps for tenant organizing, billboards proclaiming "Reclaim your block." Their life wove tighter. A lease on a loft in Dumbo, views of the East River glittering like scattered coins. Mornings started with coffee and crosswords. Jake's foot hooked over Samuel's under the table. 7 down. Enduring love? Jake puzzled once. Samuel smirked, pecking his temple. Us. But scars linger. Samuel woke from nightmares, William's gavel, endless boardroom echoes, clutching Jake like talisman. He'd be proud, Jake soothed, tracing spine tattoos of latitude lines, symbols of journeys shared. Their intimacy evolved, deeper than passion. Quiet talks on the couch about adopting someday. Futures painted in broad strokes of we. Autumn leaves turned the park to fire, and with them, a new conflict simmered. A rival firm, Vanguard Properties, helmed by a slick millennial named Ronan Hale, sniffed weakness in Harrington's pivot. Ronan's play was aggressive, snapping up foreclosed lots in Harlem, undercutting bids with predatory loans. Whispers reached Samuel. Hale's gunning for your crown, kid. Says you're soft. Samuel met the threat head-on, scheduling a sit-down at a neutral ground, the Polo Bar, all leather booths and Scotch haze. Ronan arrived fashionably late, tall, chiseled, with a trust fund smirk and eyes that appraised like appraisals. Samuel Harrington, he drawled, extending a manicured hand. The prodigal reformer. Heard you neutered the family beast. Samuel's grip was iron. Reformed it. What's your angle? Hale? Ronan leaned in, cologne sharp as intent. Opportunity. Your dad's old guard? They're shopping shares to me off record. Join the real game, or watch it slip. The offer hung, laced with subtext, power, the kind William wielded. Samuel saw the temptation, quick wins, Empire Redux. But Jake's voice echoed, "Choose life." "Pass," he said flatly. "We're building lasting, not looting." Ronan's laugh was velvet over knives. "Noble. But nobility bankrupts. Think it over." The encounter rattled. Back home, Samuel paced the loft, Manhattan's lights a restless mosaic. Jake sensed it, setting aside his sketchpad. "Hale?" Samuel nodded, collapsing beside him. "Offers the easy path." Like Dad's ghost whispering. Jake pulled him close, lips to temple. "You're not him. You're you, are you?" Their evening dissolved into solace. A bath drawn steaming. Jake's hands soaping shoulders knotted tight. No rush, just presence, kisses like rainfall, bodies aligning in wordless vow. Afterward, wrapped in towels, they plotted. "Hit him with transparency," Jake suggested. "Publish our bids. Invite community input. Make him look shady." Samuel grinned, the fog lifting. "Genius." The strategy deployed like clockwork. Harrington went public. Open-source development plans. Town halls streamed live. Vanguard's shadows lengthened. Exposés on their loan sharks. Boycotts from faith leaders. Ronan retaliated with a whisper campaign. Rumors of Samuel's personal distractions, undermining focus. Tabloid hints at lavish lofts funded by family favors. The stung. Dredging old shames. Samuel lashed out at a URI fundraiser. Voice cracking mid-speech. "They call me soft? Try surviving a father's rejection. Then building from ashes." The crowd thundered applause. But backstage, tears came. Jake enveloped him, murmuring, "Let it out. I've got you." Their love anchored through the gale. Weekends escaping to the Hamptons. Borrowed from Lila, where waves crashed like confessions. One dusk, barefoot on the sand, Samuel dropped to one knee. Not proposal, but promise. A silver keychain etched Empire of Two. "For every door we open," he said. Jake's eyes shimmered. Together, their embrace melted into the tide's rhythm. Salt on lips. Hearts synced to the sea's eternal pull. Winter bit early, snow blanketing the city in hush. Samuel's counteroffensive peaked at a development expo in Javits Center. Halls buzzing with blueprints and brokers. He unveiled the Harrington Harmony model. Modular homes, solar integrated, priced for working families. Ronan crashed the booth, entourage in tow. All teeth and tailored wool. "Flashy," Ronan sneered, fingering a sample panel. "But can it compete?" Samuel met his gaze, unflinching. "Compete? We're collaborating." "Or didn't you get the invite to our supplier network?" The jab landed. Ronan's smirk faltered. Later, over hors d'oeuvres, a détente brewed. Hale, cornered by his own leaks, proposed a JV joint ventures on ethical terms. Samuel shook on it warily. Jake's text buzzing approval. Smart. Now home, hot toddies await. But betrayal's echo lingered. During due diligence, Samuel uncovered Ronan's deeper game, poaching Harrington execs with sweetheart deals, including a mole in finance feeding bid intel. The confrontation was private, Ronan's penthouse, skyline sprawling like spilled ink. "You played me," Samuel accused, documents splayed on marble. Ronan poured scotch, unrepentant. "Business, Sam. No hard feelings. Plenty." Samuel swept the papers. "Deals off. And Vanguard's next target, for real accountability." He left to Ronan's curses, the elevator descent a freefall mirroring his resolve. Jake listened, then quipped, "Villain arc suits you." Laughter broke the tension. They tumbled to the rug, playful tussles turning tender, fingers interlacing, breaths harmonizing in the firelight's glow. The new year dawned crisp, resolutions etched in frost. Samuel's reforms took root. First harmony units broke ground in Queens, ribbon cut by beaming families. Lila confided over sister's brunch. "Mom's dating some gallery owner. Says Dad would have approved." Samuel smiled, bittersweet. He would have hated the art, loved the tax write-off. Their own milestone crept, Jake's big break, a commission for MoMA's Queer History Wing. Opening night, Samuel in black tie watched Jake mingle, pride swelling like a wave. Backstage, amid champagne flutes, he pulled Jake into shadows. "You're my masterpiece." Jake's kiss was champagne sweet. "And you're my muse." Yet, as cherry blossoms returned, a final shadow loomed. An audit revealed embezzlement. Not Ronan's, but William's old guard, siphoning funds pre-pivot. The scandal hit like a blizzard. Arrests, lawsuits, headlines crucifying Harrington's hidden rot. Samuel faced the press gauntlet alone, Jake's hand invisible but iron in his. "We own our past," he declared. "And we'll heal it." The board purged. Samuel rebuilt, transparency audits, whistleblower hotlines. In quiet hours, doubt crept. "Am I enough?" Jake banished it nightly, their bed a confessional. More than. Always. Spring's thaw mirrored his. Partnerships bloomed. URI merged as a nonprofit arm. One evening, walking the High Line, rails humming below, Samuel stopped. "Marry me?" Jake's grin lit the dusk. "Thought you'd never empire ask." The proposal rippled outward like a stone in the Hudson. Family toasts at Lila's rooftop soiree. Evelyn's tentative, he's artistic, morphing to hugs. Even old board allies sending crystal flutes etched with, to new legacies. Jake's yes was etched deeper. A simple band of recycled gold, engraved from ashes. Their engagement unfolded unhurried. A counterpoint to Empire's rush, brunch proposals to vendors for sustainable catering. Weekends scouting venues in the Finger Lakes, where hills rolled gentle under autumn golds. Samuel balanced it all. Harrington urban ventures surging. The Bronx co-ops housed their first families. Testimonials flooding inboxes. "Our kids have a yard now, Mr. Harrington." "Thank you." URI's pilots scaled nationally. Samuel keynoting TEDx stages. Voice carrying William's timbre but laced with grace. "Empires aren't built on backs," he'd say, "but bridges." Jake's MoMA exhibit drew crowds. His pieces, abstracts of shattered skylines mending in rainbow shards, selling to collectors who murmured, "Profound." Nights, they'd debrief over Pinot. Jake's brushstrokes, Samuel's blueprints, fingers tracing each other's stories on skin. Intimacy was their ritual, lazy Sundays in sheets, exploring with the leisure of lovers who knew time's gift. "You're my horizon," Jake breathed once, palm to belly, and Samuel believed it. But harmony phrase at edges. Ronan's JV soured when Vanguard defaulted on eco-clauses, citing market forces. Samuel sued, a protracted dance of depositions and discovery. Ronan, deposed in a fluorescent-lit conference room, sneered through his lawyer. "Your Saint Axe wearing thin, Harrington. How's the hubby-to-be like playing second fiddle?" The barb landed post-hearing, over Samuel's third espresso. He texted Jake, "Rough day. Hail's a snake." Jake's reply, "Come home. I've got antidote." It was Thai delivery and a bubble bath. Jake's bubbles beard drawing laughs until steam fogged the hurt. "He doesn't know us," Jake said, toweling Samuel's hair. "We're the real deal." Yet, the suit unearthed more. Vanguard's ties to Williams' era, offshore accounts, laundered through casinos the old man had eyed. Samuel confronted the ghosts in estate files, dust motes dancing like accusations. Lila joined, poring over ledgers. "Dad wasn't all monster," she said softly. "He left you the good parts too." Samuel nodded, throat tight. "Hoping so." The wedding planning injected joy serum. A June ceremony at a lakeside inn, wildflowers and whiskey barrels, guests a mosaic of activists and execs. Jake's vows, handwritten on canvas scraps, choked Samuel. "You rose from shame to shine, my light, my fight." Samuel's reply, simple, "In you, I found home." Honeymoon in Provincetown. Beaches bleached bone white, gulls crying freedom. They biked dunes, hands linked on handlebars, evenings on wraparound porches, stars pricking the ink-black sky. One night, bonfire crackling, Jake sketched Samuel's profile against flames. "Tell me a secret," he prompted. Samuel hesitated. Then, "Sometimes I fear I'll become him, chasing legacy over love." Jake set the pad aside, drawing him near. "You won't. Look at us. This is your legacy." Their kiss tasted of salt and smoke. Bodies yielding to the night's embrace. Tender rhythms. Waves as witness, reaffirming the choice. Back in the city, the Ronin saga climaxed in court. A federal racketeering probe. Vanguard crumbling under indictments. Samuel testified, unflinching, "This isn't vengeance. It's justice for communities crushed, for trust betrayed." Ronan, shackled in orange, shot him a glare from the dock. Samuel met it with pity, not triumph. Post-verdict, headlines crowed, "Harrington heir topples Titan." Lila threw a not-sorry party at the loft, toasts clinking to "Bridges over bastards." Evelyn arrived with a vintage watch, Williams, engraved "Blood before." "He'd want you to have it," she said, eyes misty. Samuel clasped it on, the weight a talisman. But betrayal's final twist came unsolicited. A letter, postmarked Atlantic City, from an anonymous ex-Vanguard exec. Inside, photos Samuel and Jake at the engagement dinner, candid shots from shadowed corners. Accompanying note, "Your soft spots make you vulnerable. Back off, or they pay." Heart iced. Samuel showed Jake, who paled but quipped, "Creepy fan mail? We need better security." They bolstered it, doorman alerts, encrypted comms, but paranoia seeded doubt. Samuel's sleep's fractured, dreams of gavel shadows chasing Jake through alleys. "It's over," he'd mutter, waking sweat slick to Jake's arms. "Ronan's done." "Shadows linger," Jake replied, holding tighter. Their closeness became deliberate armor. Date nights at hidden jazz dives, hands under tables like secrets, mornings affirming with touches that said safe. Here, ours. URI's national expansion demanded Samuel's travel. DC summits, LA workshops. Jake tagged along when he could. Their hotel nights a portable haven. Room service and revelations. Jake's head on Samuel's chest. Heartbeat a lullaby. In Chicago, post-panel, they wandered Millennium Park, Bean reflecting distorted selves. Distorted but whole, Jake mused, snapping a selfie. Samuel pocketed the printout. That's us. Fall deepened. Leaves a carpet of caution. The stalker escalated. A slashed tire on Samuel's hybrid. A bouquet of wilted roses at the loft door. Thorns intact. Police shrugged. Fringe element. But Samuel hired PIs. Tracing to a disgruntled Vanguard holdout. A mid-level fixer named Ellis with a grudge. The confrontation was Samuel's call. A warehouse meet in Red Hook, Brooklyn's industrial husk. Ellis waited under sodium lights, wiry and wild-eyed. You ruined me, Harrington. Took my pension, my rep. Samuel, flanked by security, stood firm. You chose corruption. Walk away counseling, relocation. Harrington'll fund it. Ellis lunged, knife glinting, but guards pinned him, cuffs clicking final. As cops hauled him, Ellis spat. Your old man would have ended me proper. Samuel's reply was quiet. That's why I'm not him. The arrest closed the chapter, but scars itched. Over Thanksgiving turkey, Lila's spread, Evelyn's pie, Samuel raised a glass. To surviving shadows, Jake's foot nudged his under the cloth. To light, winter solstice brought quiet miracles. First snow dusting the loft sill, Jake unveiling a gift, a custom blueprint. Their dream, a Hudson Valley cabin, off-grid, for escapes. Our anti-empire, he grinned. Samuel's return. Adoption papers, prepped for a boy or girl from the city's foster folds. Family, redefined. Jake's tears were joys. Yes. All in. Their New Year's was intimate, fireworks over the river. Bodies swaying to a playlist of anthems. Springsteen to Sam Smith. As midnight tolled, Samuel whispered, Empire's yours too. Jake's laugh bubbled. Ours. Always. The years layered like sedimentary rock. Each stratum a testament to resilience. By their 5th anniversary, Harrington Urban Ventures stood as a beacon. 10,000 units nationwide. A model emulated from Seattle to Savannah. Samuel's TED Talk, Shame to Summit, rebuilding from within, garnered millions of views, sparking a foundation in William's name for LGBTQ+ youth housing. He'd grumble, Samuel told audiences, but smile in secret. Jake's career soared. Solo shows in Berlin, a children's book series on city kids who changed the world, profits funding URI scholarships. Their loft evolved, walls lined with art, a nursery corner prepped with tiny overalls. Adoption came swift. A 4-year-old named Milo, freckled and fierce, with Jake's curls and Samuel's blue stare. Daddies? He'd ask at bedtime, tiny hand in two. Yes, they'd chorus, tucking stories of builders and dreamers. Parenting wove new threads, playground pushes, finger paint disasters, Milo's first I love yous splitting them open. Samuel's empire softened further, paternity leave modeling flexible policies, board diversity quotas. Lila birthed a niece, Elena, cementing the line. Evelyn doted, her gallery owner a steady presence, whispering toasts of redemption. Challenges persisted, humanistic in their ordinariness. A Queen's project stalled by NIMBY suits, Jake's creative block post-Milo's arrival. They navigated as team. Date nights swapped for family picnics. Intimacy rediscovered in quiet. Post-bedtime cuddles on the couch. Hands rediscovering curves. Love's language fluent in exhaustion. Still my revolution, Samuel murmured one dawn. Milo snoring between. Josiah, yes. The humanistic core emerged in small salvations. Samuel mentored a URI intern, a trans kid from the Bronx echoing his younger self. Don't hide, he advised. Build loud. The boy hugged him fierce. You saved my block, Mr. H. Ronan, paroled after 3, surfaced once, a coffee shop apology, hollow-cheeked. Lost it all. You were right. Samuel bought his latte. No strings, rebuild clean. Ronan nodded, vanishing into the crowd. A ghost laid. William's anniversary approached yearly, marked private. A Central Park bench dedication. Plaque reading, For Dreamers. Blood. Bridge. Beyond. Samuel brought Milo, spinning tales of Grandpa the Giant, who learned to share. Jake added sketches, Milo's crayons filling margins. One crisp October, crisis tested anew. A market crash, Harrington's stock plummeting, whispers of hostile bids. Board panic peaked in emergency sessions. Samuel's voice steady. We pivot, not to profit, but people. Defer dividends. Invest in resilience funds. Votes split. Lila swayed the holdouts. Brother knows best. The recovery was gritty. Layoffs minimized. Retraining grants. Samuel's op-ed, Empires Endure Through Empathy, went viral. Allies rallying. Jake captured the fray in a mural for HQ lobby. Figures linking arms across chasms. Milo-sized hands included. Through it, their bond deepened. Romantic in mundanity. Anniversary hike in the Catskills. Backpack heavy with Milo. Peaks promising forever. At summit, wind whipped. Samuel knelt again. Not ring, but vow renewal. To you. To us. To this wild life. Jake's eyes crinkled. Eternal yes. Milo. Ate now. Asked once over pancakes. Did Grandpa shame you? Daddy Sam. Samuel paused. Syrup sticky fingers in hair. He did. But we forgave. That's the real strength. Milo nodded sage. Like when I break your mug and say sorry, and you hug. Exactly. Jake winked. Hugs fix empires. The bikarma closed gently. A letter from Theo, now URI director in Philly. Your mercy changed me. Kids here thank you daily. Samuel framed it beside William's watch. A diptych of grace. Decades turn. Their cabin built log walls. Solar hum. A studio for Jake. Office for Samuel. Weekends they're healed, Milo fishing. Daddy's on the porch. Swings creaking lazy. One eve. Fireflies dancing. Samuel reflected. Never thought shame could seed this. Jake leaned in. Milo asleep inside. It didn't. Love did. Their kiss was sunset soft. The empire not of steel, but soul sprawling vast under stars. From public shaming to private salvation, Samuel had ended one reign, birthed another humanistic, hand in hand, a legacy of light. In the end, it wasn't conquest or collapse, but connection, the quiet revolution of hearts mended, bridges held. And in America's boundless sprawl, where dreams clash and coalesce, that was empire enough.